this is Editing KJ with a quick note that this episode was recorded before the WGA strike and the SAG-AFTRA strikes were resolved, and in some cases possibly before the strikes began. We're super happy to be back, so please enjoy this episode. My name is KJ, and you're listening to the Supernatural Opinions podcast, where some things in this world are supernatural. My pronouns are she, they, and this is the podcast where I talk to my fellow Supernatural fans about Supernatural, and we share our Supernatural opinions. And I have my notes up. Look at me go.
Oh, congratulations. So happy for you.
Today I'm being joined by my guests Meredith and Sarah. Meredith, remind the people who you are.
My name is Meredith. My pronouns are she, her, and this is another chaos episode because I once again forgot we were recording.
And Sarah, please tell the people who you are because you've never been here before.
Yeah, I'm Sarah. My pronouns are they, she, and this is going to be really fun because, yeah, it is the first time I've been here, and also I watched this episode, cried about it, and forgot to take notes. So
it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I have all the notes we could ever need. I just need feelings from everyone else, so it's gonna be great. Sarah, a quick question: how long have you been watching Supernatural for? When did you start?
I vividly remember the first episode of Supernatural that I watched. And okay, it wasn't actually like the supernatural part of Supernatural. It was the Eye of the Tiger scene from Yellow Fever.
Well,
it's got its own fandom.
It
I was
does.
at Yearbook Club.
My mom watched the show and she's like, "Oh my god, you're gonna think this is so funny." And obviously I did because I was 9 years old.
Okay, I have follow-up questions. Did your mom continue watching the show?
Yes.
Did she watch it all the way to the end?
Yes.
Is she like a fangirl about it?
Not to my extent, but
Okay,
she
fair.
will have conversations with me.
Oh my
about
god,
it.
Sarah, you should come on the pod with your mom.
Oh my god. My mom is like very neurotypical compared to me.
Oh no, we've had at least one sibling duo on the podcast. We haven't had a parent-child duo.
Yeah, that would be fun.
It would be
I
fun.
just don't know that many people who like my parents watch it and like continue to watch it. Like my
Yeah,
mom's actually watching Supernatural as a result of this podcast. She's pretty far up. She's into like at least season 7.
My dad's seen part of it.
I haven't touched base with her to see where she's at in a while.
It's actually really funny. So my mom started watching it from the beginning because she really liked Gary Padalecki in Gilmore Girls.
Okay.
She didn't know Jensen Ackles, and she knew JDM from
Stop Jones.
I don't really remember. Oh, P.S. I Love You. She loves that movie. I'm pretty sure that was beforehand. So she was like, these two actors, fantastic. We got to season 4. She had me watch the Eye of the Tiger thing, and I was like, oh my god, he's so funny. Little 9-year-old me. So this was, I don't know, 14 years ago, I guess.
Been a hot minute.
And I vividly remember we had a DVR and it was recorded, and I made her keep it on the DVR for so long because every once in a while, if I had a bad day, I would just turn on that last little 3-minute clip because I didn't really know how to use the internet.
Yeah, you were 9. That's good parenting.
Yeah, it was that last little 3-minute clip, and I would just dance around in my living room. That was my first experience with Supernatural.
That's
is
so
actually
cute.
just Jensen Ackles.
When did you transition to actually watching it as a show? Do you remember?
I don't vividly remember that, but I'm assuming that it was somewhere around that time because I probably was he's so funny, I need to watch more of this. And my mom was probably okay, it's not really that scary
It's not
anymore.
that bad.
No. I feel like you've got the funniest / cutest supernatural
I
origin
think this
story
might
we've
be the
had.
cutest supernatural origin story we've had so far on the podcast. That's adorable.
And on top of that, so and then at some point I've watched it live with my mom all through high school, and then I went to college.
Do you remember about when you got to live watching it, a general season?
Probably 6.
Okay, Okay, so yeah, like it would have
6
been
or
around that
7,
time then,
maybe?
because like, so you
Yeah.
must have started watching it like immediately.
Pretty close on to that. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I want to say, like, I was in middle school and I started, and I know, like, I really, really got into it in high school because I have so many pictures of me with, like, all the stuff that my family would buy me for, like, my birthday.
That's so cute.
And all of that. They were like, oh, she likes Supernatural. Okay. There's a poster in my house that I got when I turned like 14. I still have it. It's the season 6 poster that is everywhere. But so I watched probably live until like season 12. And then I went to college and I didn't have access to cable.
Yeah, TV is difficult. Yeah.
So I somehow, I say this all the time, so that like I grew up with the internet but not on the internet, and it was still very true when I went to college. So I was so removed from fandom. I did not have a single thing spoiled for me from season 13 to season 15. Nothing.
That's impressive.
I watched fully the entirety of Supernatural in about a month or two in late 2021. I know I finished watching it in November of 2021, and I had no clue what was going on.
Wow, that's really impressive, because like to have no spoiler, and like you're so involved in fandom now, like you have like a huge fandom following, like
it's like so wild that I have like so many fandom friends now, and like nothing of that. I was not on Tumblr.
It's so funny though, like I actually didn't have a lot spoiled for me. Like I was not involved in fandom before until I finished the show either. Like I was completely done the show before I got actually all that involved.
Crazy to think how much can happen in a few years.
Yeah.
Like weird years.
It's so insane. Like, because like I started like posting on TikTok.
So you had
like,
no knowledge going into the final season or anything like that.
Nothing.
The only thing I had spoiled for me going into season 15, and season 15 was over by the time I watched it, was it. That was all I knew. I didn't know anything else.
I had nothing. I knew like something big was going to go down in the finale because my mom was like, oh, I want to watch these episodes with you. And I was like, oh.
That's how you know.
God. So yeah, I was sitting on my couch sobbing my eyes out.
Yeah, it's rough.
I opened up Tumblr on the day
Meredith was on Tumblr on November 5th.
Yeah, I was.
Oh man.
And I hadn't watched Supernatural for a few years, so I was like completely out of the loop, and I was like, oh, that's still going on, okay. And then I realized there's a lot of excitement. I wasn't following any Supernatural blogs, so all of this stuff had like breached containment and made it onto my feed.
It breached the containment of the whole internet at that point.
Yeah,
like.
it was something. It was everywhere, and I was like, oh my god, they actually did it, but not well. That's in character.
Anyway, I wonder what we're doing this week. This week we're talking about season 4, episode 10, Heaven and Hell, which originally aired on November 20th, 2008, which is the anniversary of Supernatural ending. I guess November 19th technically, but like that title is a reference to the obvious conflict between the angels and the demons in this episode. It's also Black Sabbath 9 studio album from 1980. This episode originally actually, according to IMDb, almost had a different title, like right up until like before it aired, basically, like Hell's Angels, but then the Hell's Angels were not super happy with it, and they were like, please don't. And Supernatural was like, okay, fine. Which is funny because Supernatural does have an episode called Hell's Angel. Like,
where's your sense of adventure?
So I guess the Hell's Angels have come around. Maybe season 4 was too early for them. They weren't like on
they weren't
board
obsessed.
Yeah, I bet a bunch of them had started watching the show by then.
This episode was co-written first of all by the one and the only, the creator Eric Kripke, as well as Trevor Sands, and directed by James Miller Tobin. What can we say about Eric Kripke that we haven't already said? Not much. There's nothing. Trevor Sands is a one and done for Supernatural writers. He wrote on this episode and then didn't come back. So I don't know what.
I heard something that they have to like hire like a green writer every season or something like that.
I believe that, and they definitely do hire like a good chunk of green writers. Like there is a lot of people where Supernatural is the first and sometimes only thing they've ever worked on. He had a couple of other things. He wrote and narratively directed a video game called Blade Runner Revelations and something called Timeless Continuum Recon, which is a VR 360 experience. But he doesn't have a lot of like other TV credits or anything. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if to learn that fact. I'd never heard that before, but they do have a lot of writers come through that like write an episode of Supernatural and then fuck off. And usually they're really good episodes.
Yeah. I think it might have been like a clip from a con where like Jensen was like, they have to do this. So like sometimes we have to go in and be like, this is not our character. And they have to do a little bit of like manipulation and that. Might be wrong, but
yeah, there's been this is like pretty much our first new writer this whole season. Like this whole season has been all like the OG writers. It's been like Eric and Sarah and
it's an interesting choice for a new writer because this is the second part of a two-parter.
Yeah,
and the mid-season finale.
Finale, which is why I think Eric Kripke was involved in the co-writing process, because like we've had like Ben Edlund and Jeremy Carver and Sarah and Eric and Kathleen Humphreys. Like we haven't had a lot of we haven't really had any just like random writers. Andrew Dabb showed up for the first time, you know. And then we've had J. Miller Tobin's not a stranger to us either. He's directed twice before. His previous episodes were season 2 episode 14, Born Under a Bad Sign, which was the episode where Meg possessed Sam, and then season 3 episode 8, A Very Supernatural Christmas. So like a very like emotionally hitting episode. So I feel like we came into this with a good team on our shoulders.
Yeah,
that helps.
Meredith, what would you like to rate this episode? Do you remember enough to rate this episode?
What did I rate the first part? Like 7 or 8 or something?
I think so. I think it was 8s all around last week.
Okay, I'll give that to this episode too. Maybe like a 7. I think it's a good follow-up.
Sarah, what would you like to rate the episode?
I'm gonna give it an 8.
You want to give it an 8? I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed this episode.
I really do love that episode. Maybe it's just because there's 327 rolling their ways around my brain.
It's hard to be like, this is like a perfect episode, but like,
because I feel like I would probably give like a lot of episodes like 10 out of 10s.
Yeah.
Oh, that's always nice when you like the content you watch.
Yeah.
Like I hate it, but I love it.
I don't think anybody died.
Alastair got vaporized, but he's not.
Alastair got vaporized, but we don't know that means he's dead.
Are we counting the meat suit?
Oh yeah, I guess we should count the meat suit. Okay, we're gonna say 1 death.
That's so weird that we have to like have 1 death on a technicality.
On a technicality.
Well, I think they also smote a few demons.
Oh yeah, there was a couple of other demons that got smote, and so their meat suits would also be dead. I'm gonna make it 3 just to be like approximate and even, and maybe editing KJ will go back and fix that. You know? Okay, hang on, I have to do math.
Hold on, the cat is meowing outside my door.
Perfect time because I gotta do this math. Okay, so then that makes our on-screen total 291 and our on and off-screen total 1,940 plus. No angelic deaths that we know about. Still fine. They actually kicked some ass in this episode, so no need to worry about the angels.
Nope.
I mean, not in the dying sense. We're going to worry about them quite a bit over the course of this episode.
Might as well. They're not doing great.
But yeah, let's go right into the recap. And Sarah, feel free to interrupt with thoughts and feelings anywhere you have them.
Okay.
We're picking up right where we left off last week with Uriel and Cass showing up to kill Anna and Sam and Dean not being okay with that at all. And Uriel pulls a double reveal that Anna's not just an innocent girl, and also the angels, or at least Uriel, knows that Sam's been fucking Ruby.
Yeah.
That was the reveal, since we just learned that like last week, which was like today in narrative time.
Like, how long have you known? How did you find out?
I feel like, you know, like I kind of got on Cass' case a little bit for like ratting Sam out about using his powers like a few episodes back, but like he did, if Cass knew that Sam and Ruby were also fucking, like Cass actually did hold his tongue quite a bit. I'm proud of him.
I'm like fully convinced that the angels know everything that Sam is doing at the moment, and I'm like, yikes.
Oh yeah, I think that they're watching them all the fucking time.
It's such a creepy feeling.
Yeah, they're just choosing to like clue Dean in when they need to, because they also know what Dean's doing. Like they also know what's up with Dean. Like they're watching, and Sam and Dean are just like suffering. But I was like, oh, Uriel, you definitely knew that. We just learned that information. There has not been time for you to know that unless you already previously knew it. Dean and Sam exchange a look where they both decide this is a hill that they're gonna die on. And then Dean suggests they find another girl on J-Date, which is our niche supernatural reference to date. J-Date is a Jewish dating site that's existed since 1997 and was famously used by Jesse McCartney.
Wow.
Yeah, these dudes are Jewish. I don't know what to tell you. Also, all these writers are fucking Jewish. Like,
they might as well, right?
Uriel grabs Ruby, just chucks her, and then threatens to / starts fighting her. To Sam's credit, he does nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking nothing except look concerned. Dean is
like,
the one who picks up a crowbar and tries to hit Uriel with it.
Good luck.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, Sam is like trusting Ruby when he absolutely shouldn't, but like he's also not willing to die for Ruby. Like, I want to like give Sam credit where it's due because Dean is the one who's trying to rescue Ruby at this point. Cass advances on Sam, who still does nothing and resorts to puppy dog eyes and begging. My baby, I love you, but you're in a fight for your life. I know you can fight. It's literally now or never.
Like, it got me out of a bad situation once. Maybe it'll work again.
Like, literally just like pleading with Cass and like hoping Cass. I'm like, Sam, Cass doesn't know you yet. You've met one time.
Yeah, like your pleading
care.
is going to change nothing.
If it was Dean could probably get away with begging. Dean and Cass have met several times before and had several conversations. Sam and Cass have never been alone together before. Like, this is Sam. It's not gonna work.
Look, you're still the kid with the demon blood to him.
Oh my god, I love early Cass and Sam. Oh,
it just really packs a punch. Cass just like knocks Sam out with his little like 2-finger to the forehead thing, and he grabs the door where Anna is. But then all the angels get blasted out of the room. Dean actually goes and picks up Ruby. Dean's come around like a 180 on Ruby since last week. Sam telling Dean about how Ruby saved his life actually fucking worked. Like, Dean is like maybe not trusting Ruby, but like he's willing to like try and save her life, pick her up off the ground while she's like hurt. Like,
well, knowing Dean, he might feel that he owes her a debt.
A little bit, but like Sam's laying unconscious on the ground and Dean still picks Ruby up and before he checks on Sam. To be fair, Sam is coming around, but like it takes
Sam's
a lot to divert Dean from unconscious Sam. That's not an easy task. Anna isn't actually in a closet as she appeared to be, but she's in a room that's like separate from the rest of this barn. I don't know what this other room's supposed to be, but she's bleeding from a cut on her wrist. She sent the angels away by drawing a sigil with her own blood. She's not sure how she knew how to do it, but she did. So we're gonna hit that title card.
Was it a bathroom that she was in? Because there's like a mirror that she did it on, right?
If there's a mirror, it's very unclear like why there'd be a second room that's that big in this barn and like what the room is for. Like, it's not like it's like a loft or something. It's on the same floor of the barn as they were in, but whatever.
It's where they keep insane people, you know, because we're in a Victorian novel now.
Also, like, it's kind of implied that like Cass was about to open that door and take Anna, and I feel like the angels could have avoided all this by not having, like, last week they made a whole show of like blowing the door off and like marching in and being like, we're here for Anna. I feel like they could have just gone into the room that Anna was in.
Yeah. I think something that I want to bring up because it made me laugh and I had to rewind and watch it like 3 times because I love how like detached and sassy Cass is in the beginning.
So funny in season 4. Like,
he is so hilarious. And like when they're talking about like how they want to kill Anna and Dean is just like, oh, you're just some heartless sons of bitches. And Cass just goes, yeah, we are. And like,
and you're not going to make us feel bad about this, so we're coming in.
Like, and she's bad, so
yeah,
like,
we're still killing her. So
your argument's invalid.
Sam and Dean have a really quick discussion about Anna, and Sam's like, okay, I'm gonna find out what her deal is. Dean's gonna take her to the safest place they know, which is Bobby's panic room.
That makes me so emotional.
It does. It makes me very, very like warm fuzzy, but also like really mad because Bobby's not here.
I miss the panic room.
Isn't he like overseas?
They're claiming he's in Dominican on vacation. We'll get to it.
Bobby gets a vacation?
I have questions about that story, but Ruby gives Dean a hex bag for Anna, who currently can't hear anything from the angels, and Anna's realizing that Sam and Dean and Ruby are all scared, and that got her a little bit scared. Sam yells downstairs that he's got news, so Dean goes upstairs, leaves Ruby to watch Anna from outside of a room that Ruby can't enter. There's no indication that the angels can't enter it, but Ruby can't get in, and she's the one who's watching Anna.
They planned ahead on that one. Yep.
Upstairs, the first thing that Dean does is make sure that the car came back in one piece because Sam had the car. And then the second thing he does is tell Sam that Bobby's on a well-earned vacation to the Dominican. I don't know if I buy that Bobby's, but I want to be true very badly, so I'm just gonna like believe that.
Yeah.
My thing is, like, at this very moment, like, we're just, like, finding out about angels and shit.
Yeah, I feel like Bobby's been
like,
pretty,
your
like,
pseudo-son just came back from hell.
Yeah.
Like, not that long ago. And we're going to the Dominican. Okay.
Might be the last vacation you ever have, man.
Maybe Bobby's like, yeah, it's the apocalypse, so I'm going in. There's an episode in season, I want to say, like, 11 or season 10, where it takes place in season 4. That could but we're never gonna know, so it's all speculation. But I don't want Bobby to have a vacation before the apocalypse, you know, like, what if he never gets a chance ever again?
Yeah, I mean, he deserves it. I just, like...
No one deserves it more than Bobby, but, like, it's also really bad timing. We could have really used his help.
Yeah.
They were like, how can we write Jim Beaver out of this and still
be in his house?
Bobby's house.
Sam says that Anna had a bit of a weird phase as a toddler where she thought that her dad wasn't her dad, which was a bad look for a deacon and a housewife. Like,
that's really funny.
But it does give us Sam giving Dean a very stern look and telling him, dude, you're confusing reality with porn again.
That line is so applicable to so many things.
Baby Anna was convinced that her real dad wanted to kill her, which is very intense for a 2-year-old. 2-year-olds aren't usually that articulate and usually aren't that, like, worried about people wanting to kill them.
2-year-olds barely have a concept of death.
Yeah, pretty intense. Otherwise, Anna's been pretty normal until now. She went to a kid shrink and, like, she's been fine until recently. Anna comes upstairs for no real reason with Ruby tagging along, and she's understandably a little bit upset that the Winchesters are upstairs theorizing about her psychoses. Understandable.
Yeah, understandable.
Anna doesn't know why the angels want her dead, and Sam promises that he's gonna find out. And when Sam promises he's gonna research something, he does.
It's one thing he can do is some research.
Yep, it's his main skill. Dean goes and gets Pamela, and I love Pamela. I'm so glad she's back.
I missed her. She's so amazing.
I love Pamela.
Her first move is to give Sam a little pat on the butt and make a comment about bouncing a nickel off that thing. And it reminded me of Sin City. I don't remember what the exact comment was in City, but there was something about fitting a girl's ass with a dime. I'm not sure what it is about butts and pocket change in this show, but
someone's got a kink.
There's a theme happening. Ruby and Anna are watching this exchange, and, like, Ruby's face is doing a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we let Pam get away with so much.
Yeah. Pam also, like, embarrasses Sam a little bit by, like, being like, and I know you're staring at my boobs. Which is, like, out of character for Sam, but, like, Pamela does have nice boobs, so, like, I get it.
Not fair. She's always, like kind of sexual harassment, but, like, as I said, we let her get away with it.
Yeah, she's a little bit hands-on with the flirting, which I'm not always a fan of, but, like, I respect anybody who's willing to try to shoot their shot with both Winchesters, and Pamela is certainly that.
I do indeed love that she does keep the nickname Grumpy for Sam.
Too. Me too. I think more people should call him that. Especially because he's so tall, so, like, giving him a dwarf name is, like, extra funny.
Yes.
But also he's so grumpy all the time, and I feel like other people should be making fun of him for it.
Yeah. It's just so funny. Like, I think there was even, like, some sort of conversation about how, like, Dean's grouchy this weekend at the con, and I was like, yeah, but, like, Sam, grumpy motherfucker.
Yeah.
There's grouchy and then there's grumpy. They're, like, alike, but not the same.
Yeah. Yeah, those are two different things, and, like, they are one of each.
Yeah.
Pamela's plastic eyes are, like, Lilith white, which is very good for business and creepy.
So creepy.
I respect her so much for making that choice.
Probably alarming for, like, because we know Pamela at least deals with a couple of other hunters. Like, she at least knows Bobby, and, like, now, like Sam and Dean called and she came, like, even though they're the reason she doesn't have eyes in the first place. Like, I assume other hunters probably call her for help, but I think the fact that she's got, like, Lilith eyes is very funny.
Yeah.
I love it. I just want to know her thought process. And, like, she probably looked at them online and was like, oh, I have to. Or, like, got someone else to look at it for her.
Someone else had to look at them.
I know how blindness works.
She hypnotizes Anna, and we get a shot of Pamela's Jessie Forever tramp stamp, which I love that they took the time to put that back on her and, like, display it in a shot. They didn't need to do that. They just did. Anna gets really distressed when Pamela prods into the whole real dad thing, and the door slams closed, and all the lights blow in a very cat-like display while she screams about her father wanting to kill her. She knocks Dean on his ass, and then Pamela wakes her up, and Anna's noticeably more stiff in how she talks once she has the realization she's an angel. Like, it's like a very sudden switch in the way that she speaks. Very good, Julie McNiven.
Oh, it's also like this weird sort of serenity.
Yeah, but it is very much like how Cass talks.
Yeah,
like she doesn't seem like scared really anymore. Like she's just like very monotone and like robotic.
It's very like clipped, like it's like thank you, and then it's like very much like she's trying to copy Misha, and I really like that attention to the detail.
And like the other thing is her being very like her just being like thank you, I understand now, and then they're like explain.
Like, you want to share with the class?
The cryptic nature comes with being an angel. Like
yeah,
I also really like that things happen around in the
room.
Yeah, in the room, like the light shattering and the doors slamming.
It feels like Cass's like introduction.
Yeah,
and then like it also is like, oh, like this is like Anna, even though like we're gonna learn she's like powered down, like there's still something there. Like
I also really like that this is a room that was designed to be like demon proof, monster proof.
Also,
but like
proof that the room is not angel proof.
Well, it just shows that like this is something new and powerful we don't know how to deal with.
Yeah.
And if I do remember correctly, she moves something in with kind of like with her mind in the previous episode when she's like a filing cabinet or something.
Oh she like took out a demon with a filing cabinet or like dresser or something like that.
So it's like that's also kind of like a she might be powered down, but like she's still got something.
Powers. Yeah, and like it was like that specifically was very like Sam special children powers, like, and then like
that was so reminiscent of him moving the goddamn dresser.
Yeah, exactly. It was
never
like exactly like that.
Again.
And then and then now we find out she's an angel, so she's not at all like Sam. In fact, she's very much unlike Sam.
Very opposite, actually.
Pamela and Ruby not thrilled by the news that we have an angel in our midst, but we do take this whole conversation upstairs out of the panic room so that Ruby can be like in the middle of the conversation and not just like by the door. Also, Ruby got that door slammed in her face because she can't come in the but Anna,
there was like that whole line where she was in the doorway and annoyed and like it's demon proof, which I find racist, by the way.
Yeah.
And then Dean just goes, "Write your congressman."
Anna knows Cass and Uriel personally. They were in the same foxhole, and she was also their boss when she was an angel. So that's why Anna is so powerful. She's more powerful than Cass and Uriel. I mean, Uriel is Cass's inferior. So
he's a specialist.
Yeah, he's a specialist, but he still answers to Cass.
Exactly. He's a lower angel with an ego.
Yeah. Anna disobeyed, which is the worst thing that an angel could possibly do. And she fell to earth and became human. She ripped out her grace. And the longer she was human, the less she remembered, which is why she forgot by the time she reached adulthood. Ruby lays all the cards on the table. The angels want Anna dead. The demons want to torture her for information because unlike the other angels, Anna is technically still a human. She can be hurt and tortured for information. Anna's like, okay, well, I'll get my grace back if I can find it. And then Anna's like, oh yeah, and I like heaven is a place you can literally fall from. And Sam's like, okay, great. I can find a report of a meteor from 1985. That's like the easiest part of this.
It's like, no problem.
No problem.
We got this.
To be fair, Sam narrows it down to a single state, which is a lot of ground, but significantly less ground than we were working with like 2 hours ago. Ruby apologizes for even getting them involved. They're caught between two armies that way outmatch them, like Godzilla versus Mothra. This second Godzilla versus Mothra reference, our first was in The Benders. So yeah, that's back. Ruby kind of wants to just dump Anna and run for it, but Sam shuts that idea down. Ruby's very scared of angels in the previous episodes. Now she says she's not even that worried about him compared to Alastair, the demon from last episode. He's like the Grand Inquisitor of Hell. He's an artist with torture. And if he finds us, it's going to be bad, which I think we've proven. Again, I complained about this last week. Alastair is too overpowered in the previous episode. So like, yeah, bad news. We don't want to deal with Alastair.
Alastair loves his job.
Yeah.
She tells Sam that he needs to pull him, which is what Ruby calls Sam's power thing, what he does to demons. But last
episode we came up with demon yoink.
Yeah, demon yoink. And she says that Sam can't because he hasn't been using his powers recently. Although he just used them like 2 or 3 episodes ago, so it hasn't actually been that long. But whatever, Ruby. Ruby says that Sam knows what he has to do to tone up, but Sam says he isn't doing that anymore. We don't get any information about what that is right now. We've had some hints over the last couple episodes. Actually, these 2 episodes have been the most hints we've had about what the fuck's going on with Sam and like what Sam and Ruby are actually doing to like make this demon yoink thing work. We don't have the answers right now, so we can't talk about it anymore.
It's something fun.
Ruby says that if can't and Anna doesn't find her Grace, then they're all gonna die. Anna's out in the yard watching the night sky over South Dakota, and Dean's just getting back from returning Pamela home. I'm so glad we didn't make Pamela stay for all of this.
Yeah.
She's been through enough. And Anna
she doesn't
says,
like angels.
Yeah, Anna says the Winchester should also bail, which is what Ruby wants to do. So good thing Ruby's not here. And he says,
Be like, look, we agree.
yeah. Ruby and Anna are on the same page about this. Dean's like, we're not that smart.
You're not. You guys are idiots. That's pretty consistent.
At least he's aware.
Yeah.
Dean then takes a really good opportunity to ask why the angels want him, but Anna says it was after she fell and the angels haven't been talking about it, so she doesn't know why they want Dean. And Dean asks why she would ever want to be human and why anyone would ever want to be human, and Anna says, like, emotions, even the bad one, are a reason to fall, and why she'd give anything not to have to go back. Dean says feelings are overrated. We're going to come back to that in a little while. We're going to circle back to this conversation.
It's a surprise tool that'll help us later.
Dean, who has been really openly critical of angels, the word douchebag has been thrown around in the past, then tells us/Anna what he really thinks about angels, and by angels he means Cass, because he's only met Uriel like twice. He says like angels are powerful and perfect, and they don't doubt themselves or God or anything. And I'm like, okay, Dean, we get it. You have a crush on Cass.
We all do. It's okay.
But Anna's like, yes, angels are perfect. Like a statue is perfect, like cold and unmovable, and only 4 angels have ever actually seen God, which is fucking news to us. And Anna's not one of those 4, so they have to take it on faith, which if they don't have, they'll be killed. And Anna was stationed on Earth for 2,000 years, invisible and waiting for her father to send her orders, which just not, there aren't a lot of angels that are like just chilling on Earth, but Anna's like chilling on Earth for like last 2,000 years, just like invisibly watching people. And again, the angels know fucking everything that the Winchesters are doing. I feel like we need to just point that out again.
This means they were watching Sam and Ruby.
Yeah.
It's really gross.
Dean's amused because he relates, because John is also an absentee father who occasionally sends orders. They're having like a minor moment about it, but Sam's lurking in the back of the shot so that he can interrupt because he found a 100-year-old tree that sprang up in 6 months. I would have loved that Angelic Grace will just spread a tree if left unattended, because Grace is like pure creation. I think that's nice.
It is very cool. Always like trees.
Yeah. Then they're in the car to go find the tree, and Dean starts chuckling to himself about an angel and a demon in the backseat together, and Sam's also amused, but makes another like reality porn comment to make sure Dean's got the line between the two straight.
Not quite straight.
Not quite straight.
Do you call this reality?
It's an angel and a demon. Like,
you're not asking, even for them.
It's pretty interesting.
Dean calls Anna's Grace tree beautiful, and it is. The sun's hitting it in a really particular way. They definitely like had to wait for the perfect conditions for filming and like probably some computer generation to make it look like this, but it looks beautiful. Anna touches the tree and she knows that her Grace isn't there anymore. It's been taken. Then they're at an abandoned house that looks suspiciously like the place that we saw last week when Ruby and Sam boned for the first time. Like it's looking suspiciously like the same house.
Hope it's clean.
But Ruby's saying what we should all basically know by now, that without Anna, they're fucked. They can maybe take on the angels or the demons, which I think last week we proved that they can't take either of those sides. Like we've already had a fight with the angels and the demons, and they didn't do well in either of those. But they definitely can't take both angels and demons at one time, which is what they're facing right now.
Not yet.
Anna interrupts, saying there is like a recording on Angel Radio that if Dean doesn't hand over Anna by midnight, they'll quote hurl him back to damnation, which would be bad.
That line literally, and like Dean's reaction to that,
it's not good.
makes me sick. Like, he already asked Anna why the angels brought him back to Earth. They had their little moment, and then they're like, Dean specifically, there's no one else involved in this. Mm-hmm. Dean Winchester himself has to give us Anna by midnight, or we're throwing him back to where he was.
Like, maybe because they think, like, they have something over him. They can threaten him with something, and it's effective.
I think also we've proven that Sam will do fucking anything to keep Dean from going to hell. Like, so if we threaten Dean, I mean, the threat is to Dean, but, like, obviously they know that, like, Sam's gonna know about it. So, like,
and Sam's immediate.
Sam and Ruby just, like, take Anna and go. Like,
Sam's immediate reaction is, do you know anything that kills an angel?
Let's kill an angel, which has never been fucking done as far as they know.
Yeah, these guys, they're not well.
Yeah.
Like,
and this is, like, the first time. Is this the first time that we've, like, actually gotten the information that there is something to kill an angel? We just don't know what it is.
Like, no one aside from, like, the Winchesters, Bobby, and now, like, the crew this week have even seen an angel before. They've never tried to kill an angel except for when they first met Cass. Dean tried to stab him with the demon blade, and that did fucking nothing. And Dean and Bobby, like, blasted him full of shotgun rounds. But, like, aside from that, they've never really looked for a way to kill an angel before. Like, they've never really thought about trying to seriously kill an angel before. But yeah, so the news that it's possible is genuinely news.
Yeah.
It's just not something that Anna has access to at the moment. Dean wants to call Bobby, and Sam points out that if Bobby knew anything that could help them, he would have called and shared it to them the moment he learned it in the first place. Like, Bobby would not have sat on that information.
Yeah.
Cut to Dean. Sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
I was just gonna say, like, Dean's first reaction is just call Bobby. I don't know what else to do right now. Let's just call our father.
That's what
figure.
we do. Yeah.
Like, I'm scared. I want my father. Like, that is like just an instinct. I'm scared. I want my parent.
I do wish that Sam had pointed out that fact without yelling at Dean. He does yell at Dean a little bit. I think it's just because he's also, like, scared, and
they're stressed.
Yeah, everyone's stressed, but I wish that they wouldn't yell at each other. Cut to Dean reading by lamplight over the trunk of the Impala, which doesn't look good for his back at all. But Anna comes out to thank Dean for trying to help her, and he stops her. He doesn't want a, like, participation trophy, and she says maybe she doesn't deserve to be saved. She knew what she was doing would be wrong. And Dean takes that maybe I don't deserve to be saved with his whole chest. It really hits him. It hits him very hard. Anna says she has to tell Dean something that he won't like about something she heard about Dean and Hal. And she says that he should forgive himself. It wasn't his fault. And he says that he can't talk about it. She says that, well, when he can talk about it, there are people who want to help him. And then she kisses him because it's their last night on Earth. And Dean says that she's still in his best lines. I've had this song stuck in my head for weeks. I do every time I hear it. The song's Ready for Love. Then there's the lengthy scene of them having sex in the car. They're very hot people. It's fine. The two big notes that people will probably get mad at me if I don't mention them. Anna putting her hand on the handprint on Dean's shoulder from when Cass pulled Dean out of hell. Pretty much, I think everyone can agree. It's not your handprint. It's not your spot, Anna. You're in someone else's place.
Find your own spot, Anna.
The second is my favorite thing about this scene. Dean's hand, like, hits the window and then streaks down the fogged up glass. That's a straight up Titanic reference.
Yeah.
To when Jack and Rose have sex in the car in the Titanic. Like, straight up shot for shot is that, and I love it.
Wait, okay, I'm gonna nerd out a little bit. Yeah. I do have the season 4 companion.
Yeah.
And good. Saying that made me think of, like, the one paragraph that they talk about it. And it was like, okay, Eric said people have been waiting 4 years for someone to have sex in the backseat of the Impala, so it might as well be Dean and an angel. He wasn't at all concerned that viewers would find it cheesy that the scene ended with a foggy window bit that brings to mind the love scene from Titanic. Like, this is so intentional.
Straight up from Titanic. Also,
Crippy,
pretty, like, good scene, I would say, as far as, like, sex scenes go. Like, it's exactly, I would say, like, it's long, but, like, it's not too long. They look hot doing it. It's good.
And then, okay, I need to actually go look back at this. But Julie McNiven, who plays Anna, says, as I was watching that part, I could feel from the universe a collective eye roll. One of the things I love from Supernatural is the little references to other works. One thing that I didn't know that people told me about afterward was that when I ran my hand down the window, it made angel wings. I did not notice that.
I don't remember seeing that either.
And now I want to look it up, actually.
Great, now we have to watch that scene again.
Yeah.
We have no choice.
And I also know, like, whenever they do like the hand on the window bit, it's just one of them in the car at that point. Like, it's just they're not both in there.
Literally.
It's been a while since we had a sex scene like that. I mean, not really, because Ruby and Sam just had one last week, but like it's been a while since Dean had one, actually.
Got like a pair of sex scenes in these episodes. One with a demon, one with an angel, you know. They cover all our bases here.
Well, Sam, home Dean, you know, we're paralleling left, right, and center. Don't worry too much about it.
It's fine.
Don't worry too much about it.
Ruby is then standing in the doorway of the building that they're in, and she makes a decision or like resolves herself to a course of action, and she leaves, and then she's on a road and she burns her hex bag, and Alastair appears. Alastair has Ruby's knife and assumes she wants it back, but she says you can keep it because she's just here to talk and she never wanted to get involved in any of this. She'll give up Anna if she and Sam and Dean can all walk away. She does stipulate both the Winchesters. Alastair calls her a devious, cowardly little slut, which I don't love, but I do like the way that he says it.
I mean, it's Alastair. Like, we can hate him just for fun.
Don't like I actually don't like the way Alastair says anything, but I do like the way that he says slut. I don't really like the word slut in general, and now I'm very uncomfortable that I've said it so many times in like such a short period.
What was the word again? Slut?
It's not a word that I say often.
No, same.
Ruby gets grabbed by some crony demons, and Alastair is just going to torture her. Uriel appears in Dean's dream, and Dean immediately asks to see Cass, and oh boy, Uriel throws all of Cass' cards on the table. He just goes, see, he has this weakness. He likes you. Sir, you do not need to throw your brother under the bus like that, but I'm very glad you did.
For real.
That's such a sibling move, though. Like, my brother has the biggest crush on you.
Yeah. Dean tries to bluff that Anna's angelic again. She's got a Grace back, but Uriel's like, no, she doesn't. I have her Grace right here.
In this bottle.
Uriel says Anna's not even human, not technically, and he laughs as he realizes that Dean and Anna hooked up. He's very amused. Obviously, he didn't watch them the way he watched Sam and Ruby, so, you know, not watching all the time.
Yeah.
Ruby's hex bag is doing his thing, I guess. Dean says the angels are bluffing about tossing him back in the pit, and Uriel warns Dean that he could be replaced. Hold on to that little tidbit for later. He says, what the hell? Go ahead. Because we're just everyone's calling everyone's bluff tonight. Like, everyone's bluffing and
Literally.
Everyone's calling each other on it. Someone's gonna tell the truth, honestly, at this point, just to like throw people off. Dean says he doesn't break easy, and Uriel disagrees and says you just have to know where to apply the right pressure. And like, we don't even need to know, because the right pressure for Dean is always going to be Sam. Like, we're going to get it confirmed later, but we don't even need it in this scene. Like, we honestly didn't even need it confirmed. I feel like I knew it the second Uriel was like the right pressure, because like, what else could it be? If Dean genuinely like does not like, I mean, obviously cares about going back to hell, but if he's genuinely willing to go back to hell to keep Anna like from the angels, like nothing short of Sam is going to change his mind.
It's just so interesting, like what Dean is just willing to like go to hell over. Like he just like throws it around. Like, he looks genuinely terrified when Anna says like they're gonna hurl him back into damnation, and then he's just like, you know what, fuck it, send me back to hell. Go ahead, I've been there already.
And Anna's an innocent-ish girl like figure.
And then I do have a question, like, just because I keep everything in that season just kind of blends together, because I always watch it like all together. And obviously we find out at the end of the episode that he remembers how, like, for real. Like, did we know, like, other than his little flashes that he would get like every once in a while of like him being strung up, like that he actually remembered like details from hell?
Yes, we did know. We just didn't know any of those details. A couple of episodes ago, when Sam Sam first met Cass and Uriel told Sam to ask Dean again, and like since then there's been tension about it. And then Dean, a couple episodes ago, like yelled at Sam and was like, "What I saw down there, I'm gonna have to live with forever, and it's never gonna be I'm never gonna be able to unremember it, and like you need to stop asking me about it."
Okay, because like
yeah,
I always like remember at the beginning he's just like, "No, I don't know anything about how."
Yeah, no, he was straight up lying,
and we're like, "You're lying to some extent."
Yeah, Sam knows that that's a lie. Cut to Ruby, who's bound, bleeding, and mostly naked, while Alastair carves up with her own magic demon knife. And Alastair drops some Alastair lore on us. It's not important. It's just to highlight that he's awful. He hasn't been Earthside to Poland 1943, heavily implying he did torture shenanigans during the Holocaust. But he actually isn't on Earth. Unlike Ruby, who can't stand hell, he loves it down there. And he'd like to get back down there and get back to torturing as soon as possible. Actually.
Yeah, words cannot express how much I hate this scene.
Yes, it's awful.
It's gratuitous.
I agree.
There's a lot here that just didn't need to be the way it was.
It's not the worst. There's some later, like season 6 scenes that are like similarly shot and worse, but yes, I agree. Not used. Alastair warns Ruby that smoking out won't help her, and Ruby says if she tells Alastair where to go, he'll just kill her. Instead, she'll show him so that he has to take her with him. And he gets to that. He's like, yeah, sure, as long as I get what I want. Sam is starting to get ants about Ruby's whereabouts. Dean is heavily drinking already. Again, Dean's been heavily drinking all season, but like it's been a while since we referenced the fact that he's heavily drinking, and Anna's like, whoa, dude, it is like early in the morning. He's like, it's 2 a.m. somewhere. And that's different than like it's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's like, oh, I'm gonna have a beer, even though it's like 10 a.m. Like it's 2 a.m. somewhere. It's like I'm trying to get blackout drunk in the middle of the day.
Yeah, like 2 a.m. implies like I am going on a bender.
Cass and Uriel show up in perfect sync. The way that they walk is very good. And Cass greets Anna, and Dean gave up their location to save Sam's life. Anna kisses Dean, and Cass's face is full of judgment, and he has to look away until Anna starts actually talking to him. He can't even look at it. Anna's going to go quietly, and Cass says he's sorry, and Anna says that he's not. He can't be, and she knows that orders are orders. Then Ruby and Alastair show up, and Uriel immediately changes focus, as does Cass. They're fully distracted by the appearance of demons.
Yeah, makes sense.
Ruby crawls away from the other demons. Cass warns that they need to leave or be laid to waste, which is stunning and a little attractive.
Of course.
A fight breaks out, and Sam and Dean just sit down. Like
they just like hide
on the ground.
Which I love. Like, it's so funny.
This is where I start to have more problems with Alastair being overpowered again, because he's smite resistant as well. Cass tries to smite him and nothing happens. He then grabs Cass around the throat, and Dean has to smack Alastair with a crowbar to save Cass. I'm really glad Dean thought to save Cass, even though they're like not really talking and they're kind of mad at each other. He's still like, okay, well, I'm not gonna like let a demon kill him. Again, Dean's the only one trying to save anybody in this episode. Like
Fine.
Sam and Dean get demon choked by Alastair. Anna runs, grabs her grace from Uriel, and juices up. She warns that they should shut their eyes. Sam, Dean, and Ruby listen. Alastair doesn't and gets blasted away. Uriel and Cass are angels, so they're fine. They're not affected by that. Dean picks up the demon blade and suggests they go find Anna because she's gone. And Cass stops Uriel from doing further damage to the Winchesters. Ruby is suffering from the torture that she went through, but she seems like she's gonna live, so that's always good.
You know, every time like her meat suit like gets hurt, I'm just like, she went through so much to get that. Stop damaging it.
You literally.
I mean, at least we know that she's in there by herself. Like, there's not some poor girl in there.
Yeah, like every time, just like it's hard to get one of those. Okay, like just treat it nicely.
But there is some family out there.
Ethical meat suit.
Sort of, like
ethically sourced.
She's a Jane Doe, so like they don't know like who the meat suit is.
Yeah.
So like there's some family probably out there wondering what happened to their sister, daughter, wife, girlfriend, child.
Didn't they say that like she was supposed to like have her plug pulled? Like she was just like
she was like
she was in a coma and she was
comatose. They were about to pull the plug,
but she was a Jane Doe, so she's missing from somewhere.
Yeah, we don't know what happened to her.
Yeah, who knows what? We don't know how she got into a coma, and we don't know
something bad.
Somebody
Ruby must be looking for her, you would hope. Otherwise, yeah, the most ethical meat suit you could have as someone who like has to occupy a body that doesn't belong to them. But yeah, we would like to keep it intact because it's going to be hard to find another Jane Doe who's about to be unplugged from life support. Like those don't come around every day.
Seriously, stop cutting it up.
Dean reveals that Sammy came up with this whole plan of getting everyone together, Ruby going rogue, and then Anna knowing where the Grace was going to be, all because of the plan. And Sam credits Ruby's Godzilla Mothra comment. And Sam like hopes Anna's happy as a big time angel, and Dean doubts that she's happy.
Oh, it's very sad.
And then Sam and Dean are sitting in the car. They're saying on the car, not in the car. On the car, drinking beers.
Okay. Before we get to that, absolutely heartbreaking. Okay. So I know you just said like Sam did the plan. I always thought that it was Ruby's plan that Ruby told to Sam, and Sam said to Dean, so Dean would go along with it.
I don't know. I think it's possible. I think of it as like a Sam plan. I think it was inspired by Ruby.
Okay. Just because like he says like the Godzilla versus Mothra, and then like they like exchange a look.
Share a little joke about it. Yeah. That's definitely possible. I interpret it as like that comment inspired Sam to have this plan, but it could go either way. This is a very Ruby-esque plan. I can see Ruby coming up with a plan where she gets tortured as like a main part of a plan. I could see her kind of going along with it if she needed to.
Yeah. I just don't think like that was part of the plan.
That's true. Like she could have, and she was late because they were torturing her.
That was like the other thing is like why it took so long. And she's like, well, I wasn't counting on being tortured.
I mean, most people aren't. She got a little tied up.
Maybe it was Ruby. That's gonna change some shit for me.
Because that was very reflective of like my MVP for the episode.
Yeah, mine as well. I'm gonna have to make some changes to my MVP as a result, I think. But yeah, Sam and Dean sitting on the car, drinking beers, toasting to still being alive because it was a little touch and go. And then Dean asks if Sam's curious about Alastair's comments, which were Alastair's comments from the previous episode. And Sam says he is really curious, but he's not going to push Dean if Dean doesn't want to tell him. I'm assuming Dean means anymore, like that anymore is implied, because historically Sam's been pushing Dean pretty hard this whole season.
Wasn't like last episode he was like, tell me about hell, like in detail. It
was like, yeah, it was 2 episodes ago. Actually, no, it was last episode. It was both, because Dean was trying to get Sam to talk about Ruby, and Sam was like, I'll tell you about Ruby if you tell me about hell. And then Sam told Dean about Ruby anyways because circumstances changed. But circumstances have changed again because Dean's ready to talk, and it's not good. Dean reveals it wasn't 4 months for him. It was 40 years. Hell time's different than above Earth time. And he was tortured daily for 30 years until there was absolutely nothing left. And then he'd be whole again like Prometheus or Sam in Mystery Spot. And Alastair would offer to take him off the rack if he put souls on in his place and tortured them. And for 30 years, Dean said no until he couldn't take it anymore. He started torturing others, and he lost count of how many it was. And he is crying while he tells us about this. And his back is to Sam, like he can't look at Sam. And Sam processes this information as quickly as humanly possible. Like Sam goes through it behind Dean's back as he like hears this information. But he's pretty good. I mean, as good as one can be with that revelation. And he says that that's longer than anyone else would have held out, which doesn't help Dean at all. Makes Dean feel absolutely 0% better.
He tried. Didn't work, but he tried.
Dean says he wishes he couldn't feel a damn thing, and this would be a good time for them to hug. But they don't. Sam doesn't. Something Dean says here, though, is how I feel this inside me. I wish I couldn't feel anything, Sammy. I wish I couldn't feel a damn thing. This, to me, feels like something that Dean and Sam should really be meeting in the middle of their feeling. Like, they both have this feeling that hell has, like, changed something in them that they can never change back. This should be a moment that is bridging them together, and it's just not in this circumstance.
The thing that always reminds me of is the Croatoan episode. And like how he's just like chilling there with his gun and he's like, I'm tired of this shit. Like, and that was pre-hell.
Yeah.
That's like a kind of traumatic, significant episode that ends with Dean kind of having a crisis again. Or like a different phase of the same crisis.
And it's kind of interesting to like kind of like compare those two scenes because Dean's like fully willing to die. Like he's like, I just would like to die, basically. But in this scene, he's just like, I just don't don't want to feel anything. It's not like I want to be gone. I don't want to be here anymore. It's I don't want to have these feelings anymore.
I don't want to feel anything
very
ever again,
interesting because like he was dead. Like so like he's been through that experience already.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, this is take 2 for Sam of Dean dying and him going crazy. Like one was a mystery spot, so it got undone. But like for Sam, it didn't necessarily get undone. And then Dean died for real. And like he basically went down this very similar path of like just completely losing his shit. And like, I don't know, I just feel like this should be something that they could bond over. Like this feeling of like just wanting everything to stop and stop hurting. And like Sam's got a darkness in him that he can never undo. And Dean's done horrible things in hell for 10 years that he can't undo. And like, I just wish that the bridge between them wasn't so high. The rift that was created when Sam stopped Dean shooting Ruby in season 3, episode 8 has opened this like rift between them that can never be undone. And like this very big thing should be bringing them back together. It's just fucking not. Anyway, the episode ends there on Dean crying, and everyone's crying because we're all crying at this point.
I was sobbing. Oh god.
Oh man, like Dean's not just like doing his like perfect man tear cry, like he's crying. Like this is not a Dean crying that we've seen before. This is like an open, like borderline weeping. It's crying. Let's move on to MVP of the week. Let's just totally change gears.
Wait, okay. I'm so sorry. There's a deleted scene from this episode.
There's a deleted scene? I should check the DVDs.
That is actually very significant because it's like Uriel and Castiel in the woods together talking, and like they don't do it. Like usually their deleted scenes are like shortened.
I got back in the habit of checking my DVDs. Every once in a while they delete an important shit. Like disclaimer for the next 2 minutes for future discussion of this season and Ruby, specifically Ruby's arc in this season.
But this scene is Uriel and Castiel in the forest. I don't know why the fuck they're in a forest.
Forests are fun.
I guess so. And they're just talking, and Cass is like, we're not supposed to touch Sam Winchester, so that's like really like
that feels important information.
You can tell that they're bluffing when he was like, oh, Anna or Sam. And then Uriel's like, well, why not? And Castiel's like, when have they ever told me why? I was like, oh, okay.
That feels like very key information. I cannot believe that they cut that.
Yeah. And then,
I wonder why.
There's more.
Oh.
And then Uriel's like, well, at least I'll just kill that demon whore Ruby, which I don't like that use of terms, but that's what Uriel says.
It's pretty common in Supernatural for demons to be described that way.
And then Castiel smirks, and Uriel's like, oh god, like what? And Castiel goes, hands off her too. Apparently she's important.
That has to be why they cut it. It was because they weren't ready to make that reveal.
I was like,
I do think overall, it works better to not reveal that Ruby's important to the angels.
No, it's just like such an interesting scene.
Yeah, it's super interesting though. I kind of wish it was like in a flashback somewhere, you know, like we could flash back to this later and be like, this happened during this thing. Because because we don't really want to reveal this scene that Ruby's important, and we don't want to, and like I think it works better for like the end of this episode if we don't know that the angels are bluffing about Sam, / we don't know that like everything that Sam, Dean, Ruby, and Anna are doing is like coordinated. They've discussed that deal amongst themselves. Like Dean's not just giving up Sam.
I think it's interesting, like, because they cut this scene, it does still seem as if Dean is the most important out of that whole group.
Yeah. I'm like, gonna start checking. I've gotten out of the habit of, because I have all the DVDs, I've gotten out of the habit of checking the deleted scenes. I gotta get back into the fucking habit. That's fucking important shit happening behind my back.
Well, I pulled up like the transcript for the episode just like so
usually
it was
the
sitting in front of me. And like right at the very end, I was like, oh, I forgot about this, but I knew about it. And I was like, holy shit, I like completely forgot about this scene, because it's like completely out. Like so many deleted scenes are like just like longer versions of a different scene. And there's like another one that adds like another line into the one scene. But this one is completely cut out. And I think, like, to your point, it is very important that they cut it out because it does change the entirety of, like, the view from, like, the viewers.
Yeah, everything that the Angels have done has been about Dean up to this point. Like, there's actually been no indication that they care about Sam aside from the fact that he's important to Dean.
And it's so, like, in the scene, like, we know that Uriel hates answering to Cass. Like, we know this.
Yeah.
And, like, in this scene, it is so prevalent. Like, Uriel's like, we can't hunt a demon. Like, what the fuck is going on? And then Cass is like, well, it's what we're supposed to do. And then Uriel's like, he, like, visibly looks like he wants to do something. And Cass is like, you're proposing disobedience, like Anna. Then you know what I'll have to do.
Oof.
I was like,
Okay, I'm gonna leave all of that in because that felt like good. That was important information to know, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, I could, like, that could lead to so much. And, like, putting that in the context of season 4 is absolutely insane.
Sometimes I'm doing, like, some, like, supernatural, like, rewrite stuff. Sometimes I'll put the deleted scene lines in.
Love that.
Because, like, there's no reason for me not to put them in. I would put that in when I got there. Like, I'd put that whole scene in because, like, why not? I'm not trying to surprise people, but
yeah, like, I think, literally deleting this scene really does add to the surprise of her arc in this season. So it's, like, insane.
Yeah, because they're not ready to, like, insert Sam into the narrative. Like, we're gonna get there, but, like, they really played that to the vest, like, kind of to the last minute in this season. So to play Sam and Ruby, like, as important this early in is too early, I think. But oh man, I'm gonna go watch that scene later.
Yeah, it's only like a minute, so, which, like, that's all they are really, but it's, like, so crazy. And also to think that, like, this isn't like, none of their scenes were in a forest this episode. Like, they used a completely different.
If I'm putting that scene somewhere in the episode, I'm gonna say it probably belongs between the Uriel and Dean dream and the confrontation.
Okay.
Like, Uriel threatens Sam, and then Cass is like, you can't do that.
Oh, probably. Yeah, okay. But,
That's
like, still,
guess.
like, them putting them in a completely different, like, set is kind of crazy. And, like, lighting setup, because it's a forest.
The only other place we've seen Cass and Uriel hang out on Earth without the Winchesters was that park when they wanted to blow up that town. We don't know where they go the rest of the time.
So crazy.
We've never had that information. That's really interesting.
Just hang out in the woods like local cryptids in trench coats.
Anyway, MVP of the week. Sarah, would you like to go first?
Based on my interpretation of the big plan that goes down in this episode, I would say Ruby.
Okay, Ruby.
Just, like, if she is the one who created that plan, because I just simply think that she, just because of that one line and the look that they give each other.
I hadn't really thought of it that way before, but you have convinced me.
Just because of that, and, like, Dean would not just, like, take Ruby's plan. Like,
no, he's
like, starting to trust
on Ruby, but he's not just gonna, like, accept her plan as the plan.
So I feel like that was, and, like, it doesn't seem like her plan was to get tortured or anything like that. I mean, nobody plans to get tortured, but
especially not by Alastair, and, like, she would know.
She definitely did. She definitely knew, and she was like, Alastair's gonna torture us all. Like, it's bad.
Yeah. So based on that, I want to say Ruby.
Okay.
Yeah, I like your interpretation, and I actually do like Ruby a lot.
Meredith, would you also like to make Ruby your MVP, or do you have another MVP?
I want to split it, actually. I'm going to give Ruby some acknowledgement, but also I feel like Dean deserves some points for finally opening up about hell and trying to save people throughout the episode.
Yeah, I'll give Dean half a point and Ruby half a point. I'm willing to split those two.
Dean is the only one who tries to save
anybody in this episode. I had given my point to Sam for coming up with the plan, but since I've now been convinced that it was Ruby's plan, I'm gonna give my point to Ruby. And you know what? That also makes up for last week where I was the only person who didn't give Ruby a point. So, you know, let's at the end of the day, this was a Ruby episode.
It really was.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was Ruby and Dean, like, this episode so heavily.
I actually really love Ruby as a character. Like,
me too. I love her
fun.
more this time around. Like, I already loved her, but I'm really loving her more. Letting myself like villains and like people that Sam and Dean don't like has really been a new experience. I feel like that's a trap I fall into often. I'm like, oh, Sam and Dean don't like this person, so I don't like this character. But like, that doesn't mean they're not an interesting character.
Yeah. Like, a line I've had to make a lot when I'm explaining things to people is like, I don't like them as a person, but as a character, I adore them. Like, they are fun to watch and they're interesting.
Yeah. No, that's so. And the other thing that, because obviously I've been working with people on their podcast, and it's really fun to like look through these things, and I've been rewatching and everything like that, and going through and like not only liking, like letting myself like the villains, but letting myself like love the characters that are villains and being okay with them not having a redemption arc.
Yeah,
is like something that has just like leveled my opinions up. I feel like it's like not everybody's gonna have a redemption arc. Do I kind of wish sometimes? Yeah,
every once in a while. Yeah,
like sometimes they just don't need one. Like it just doesn't work with their particular character.
Sometimes I want an anti-redemption arc.
Sometimes I want you to get worse.
Yeah, but yeah, our next segment is the Bechdel test. We have two named women in this episode. We had Anna, we had Ruby, our main players. Did they talk to one another? Yes, they did. Was that conversation about something other than a man? I think they did have a conversation about something else.
Probably about like Anna.
Yeah, I feel like they've talked about Anna's powers or Anna's angelicness or something.
We also had Pam.
Yeah, Pamela was also here. And Pamela definitely had a conversation with Anna about being an angel. So yeah, that's a Bechdel test win. Wow. We went from like none this season to 3 out of the last 4 episodes. I mean, to be fair, 2 of those were huge stretches. We had to be the absolute most generous we could be.
We were desperate.
Our next segment is Case of the Week, Mythology section. We don't really have anything. It's angels and demons again. We've talked about them before. Highlight and lowlight. Meredith, what was your highlight and lowlight this week?
Lowlight is the torture scene with Ruby.
Yeah.
I just feel like it was kind of needlessly misogynistic.
Okay.
Highlight was Dean talking about hell. I thought the acting in that scene was really good, and it added a lot to the season.
Sarah, how about
you? That ending scene will definitely be my highlight as well. There's so much emotion that gets evoked with that scene within the characters and within myself. Lowlight? I don't know. Yeah, I think probably that torture scene.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's very interestingly set up. Like, they put Ruby in the nastiest room possible.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't love that she's almost fully naked, other than, like, her bits being covered.
Well, especially
and her mouth being strapped down so she can't even talk.
Well, especially because when other characters are tortured similarly, like when men are tortured, they get to keep their clothes.
Yeah, there's another demon in a female body that gets tortured in a later season that is even more naked than that. And
yeah, I remember that.
The same kind of deal. My highlight is the big showdown between everybody and like the aftermath of the big showdown where they're all like, holy shit, we're all alive. My low light is not even an actual low light, but it's that Bobby's in the Dominican.
No, that's a low light. It counts.
We're in his house and he's not here. That's rude. I do like that Bobby's house is the safe place, but I just don't like that he's not here.
Can't have Bobby. He would just bring way too much sense to the situation.
I mean, yeah.
Real. He would have been the MVP, let's be real.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he would have come up with the plan. There wouldn't even be a debate about who the plan was.
Like, we wouldn't have even had to call Pamela. He would just whip open a book and be like, oh yeah, she's a fallen angel.
I mean, also, like, if Bobby had been there, we wouldn't even have, like, questions or concerns about whose plan that was, because it would have been Bobby's plan.
Yeah, true. So true.
Not even in question. Was this Sam? Was this Ruby? No, it was Bobby. It probably was Bobby anyways. In fact, that's my new headcanon. It was Bobby's plan.
Okay.
Ruby called Bobby.
Bobby is still the MVP. Not having a second of screen time, MVP.
Yeah, they used his house. He gets points.
Call CPS. I don't think we need to call CPS because there wasn't any room for children in this episode. Thank fucking God. No children in this episode. Sometimes this show needs 0 children. children, and that's for the best.
Like, we did get some insight into Anna's backstory, but I don't think any of that was
Anna had a fine childhood. Like,
yeah, like she had some issues as a child because she was remembering her life as an angel, but her parents seemed fine.
Yeah, her parents took her to a shrink and she got better. So like,
yeah,
that's exactly what therapy you're supposed to do. If your child is distressed, you're supposed to take them to a therapist and like help them work through that in a healthy way. And it seems like that is what was done. So
good job, guys. Too bad you got fridged.
Yeah.
Real.
The firing squad, I also think we're fine. This was a really isolated episode to our main characters, so there wasn't like a lot of time for people to not do their job. Maybe fucking Uriel. Uriel's not employee of the fucking month over at Heaven Incorporated.
Why are you even here? Like you're specialized in destroying towns. Like what are you doing here?
He's just Cass's sidekick now.
Yeah, annoying sidekick.
Now into like the meat and potatoes of the segments, the mental health check. I'm not a psychologist. This segment is based purely on my own opinions, and we can remind if you're struggling with anything at all, please reach out for help. This week, pretty bad, and I think we're just going to talk about Dean.
Seems safe.
His conversation with Anna about how awful like being a human is and how like feelings aren't worth anything, like feelings aren't something you should want. Pairing that with his conversation with Sam about how he doesn't want to feel anything. But oh, baby, and you know it's your my Sam baby tone. But oh, somebody hug him. Sam literally should have hugged him like really hard, like he did when Dean first got back. Like, that is the kind of hug that Dean needed. And
it's
like
a bear hug.
He doesn't want to feel anything at all, and like that's the appeal he sees with like Anna being an angel is like not feeling anything. Like, oh, I don't even know like how to like lessen that blow. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. And like there's not really much else to say about it. Like that's not going away.
No, it's not. Yeah. It's
everything that we thought we'd been alluding to this like hell for like the hell circumstances for a while, and we knew it was gonna be like the physical torture aspect. We knew that was coming. But oh boy, no amount of alluding prepared us for that.
No.
Well, yeah, it wasn't just him getting tortured. It was him finally giving in and torturing others.
And oh man, the open weeping was really just
yeah.
You know it's bad if we're not having like a single man tear.
Yeah, like full on crying. Really bad. Excellent acting from Jensen though.
Oh my god, it's phenomenal.
Soul transactions, not technically, but worth a minute to stop and discuss what the fuck Anna's deal is. Does Anna have a soul or not?
Great question.
She didn't have grace, and now she does.
Do angels have souls?
Not as far as we know, but we don't technically at this point, spoilers for the next like 30 seconds. We later know that they don't.
So maybe as a human, she had a soul.
Anna might be a special case kind of deal.
Yeah. Like maybe as a human, she gained a soul because like she was born as a human, and then I don't know, she might have kept it or parts of it.
We have this question later about another angel who becomes human and then regains grace. Like it's not clear what that does. what they have, because they don't act soulless the way that we are later gonna get soullessness either. This is very future state. Lots of future state shit happening. Maybe it's too early to have this conversation. I was like,
pencil that in for later.
Yeah, pencil that in. Put that down on the books. I want it noted that I thought about it just in case I don't remember to come back to it later in like 2 years.
Exactly. It's gonna be like 3 or 4 years at the rate we're going.
Yeah, it could be longer than that. Yeah. Sam's traumatic brain injury. Cass did knock Sam out with his powers, but I don't think that did any like brain injury. I think that Sam's fine.
Probably.
I don't think it counts as like a regular Sam being knocked out in a fight kind of deal.
Yeah, it's like magical
very
powers,
gentle.
like a Vulcan mind meld.
It's like a little tap with the 2 fingers on the forehead and then like a gentle lowering to the ground. I think he's fine.
Like slowly crumpled,
yeah. And Cass like didn't like knock him over like super hard or anything. Like
that's kinder than a sleep aid.
Yeah. One-on-one time with Cass. Nobody got one-on-one time with Cass. Dean and Uriel had one-on-one time, but Cass likes Dean too much apparently to dream ambush him. So Cass's powers, nothing we haven't seen Cass do before. We've seen him do the door thing. We've seen him do the sleep thing. We've seen him. I guess we technically haven't seen him smite anything before, but like we knew he could.
True.
It was kind of implied that Cass smote those demons back in like season 4, episode 1, the one that Sam was going to go back and like like pull behind Dean's back. Eyes off the hostages. I didn't think we had anything, but actually we kind of did. Because Dean leaves Anna with Ruby in the panic room, and then Anna just immediately gets up and walks out. It doesn't do any harm, but it is like Dean didn't even bother with closing the door.
And the sass from Ruby. I'm watching her. Like, it's so fucking funny.
You should just watch it yourself, honestly. Especially because, like, what if the angels, like, teleported directly into the room? Like, what was Ruby gonna fucking do?
Her best.
She can't go into the room, so
she would just
watch from the door with popcorn.
Scream for Sam and Dean to come running down the stairs. I'm sure that would help a lot. The angels can teleport in and out before they can get down the stairs. But anyway, they didn't do that, so I guess it's fine.
Because Cass and Uriel are idiots.
Name that episode. Does anyone have any episode name suggestions?
The one where Dean sobs.
I feel like that deserves some highlighting.
I think last week we had the one where Sam has sex with a demon. So, like, the one where Dean has sex with an angel is on my list.
There's symmetry in that.
And since the supernatural writers are cowards, we don't have to worry about that being a thing that happens in too many episodes.
Not canonically, anyway.
I didn't really come with preparation on this like I normally do. I was hoping other people would have suggestions.
I mean, there's always the one where Dean talks about hell.
Yeah.
One with the Titanic handprint.
God.
To finish off this week's episode, we have Line of the Week. Meredith, did you pick a Line of the Week while we were talking?
I think so. I think I'll just pick Dean talking about hell again. I don't know. I usually pick a funny one, but
go for Dean.
The acting was good.
Trauma.
The acting was good.
Sarah, do you have a Line of the Week?
I did forget that this was a part. So the part that I talked about earlier, and I was like, I had to go back and listen to this like 3 times, where Cass is being so sassy, and he's like, and Dean's like, you're just some heartless sons of bitches. And he's like, yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
And?
What do you want us to do, Dean?
Mine is actually a line we ended up discussing way more than I thought we were going to. But mine is after the Pamela butt pat and Nico comment when she says, of course I know it's you, Grumpy. I just love that that's her nickname for Sam. And like she called him that the last time they met her. And I just enjoy it quite a lot. But yeah, that's it for this week. Meredith, where can the people find you if they would like to find you?
You can find me at Shades of Daenerys on Tumblr, Instagram, and sometimes TikTok. And if you go there, you'll see lots of really cool drawings for the fantasy novel I'm writing.
Excellent. And Sarah, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Skirt on Twitter and Instagram, and then on TikTok it is skirt.skirt.
Did somebody already have Skirt? How dare they?
Yeah.
That's rude.
Makes me a little upset.
Do they still have it?
Yeah, they do, and they post nothing.
That's
they
so
have
annoying.
had it for like 4 years and have posted like 2 videos.
I swear they're doing that just to spite you.
That is so spiteful.
They must have known.
Next week, Meredith and I are going to be all on our lonesome to talk about season 4, episode 11, Family Remains. And we're going to make it as painless as possible. I promise.
Yeah, it's an experience for sure. KJ
it's an experience that I do not like enjoy. Don't like it.
I've been KJ, and this has been Supernatural Opinions. If you enjoyed our show, the best thing you can do is subscribe on your podcast app of choice and tell a friend. Check out our link tree in the episode description for all of our social media and any other Supernatural-related projects we might be working on. Send us an email. Our address is supernaturalopinionspodcast@gmail.com, or reach out directly at KJ, at @KJ on all platforms. Thank you to Joe Veretta for our theme song, and our logo was created by Faith Ebert of faithanddesigns.ca. The episode was recorded, edited, and produced by me, Ed and KJ. If you want to hear more from me, you can check out my other podcast, Series of Opinions. And last but not least, a huge thank you to all of our guests.